Welcome to another episode of Will There Be Cake? I'm your host, Amber Simpson. With me, as always, Robert Lamb.
That's me.
My lovely co-host.
Thank you very much.
And we have a very special guest today for his first time, Nick Ott. Thanks for joining us, Nick.
It's great to be here.
All right.
He's so excited.
So
Do you
excited.
hear it in his voice? Yeah.
He's just getting in the mood of the day.
I'm there. I mean, looking around at the...
But we're celebrating a very kind of somber day.
It's kind of a sad day.
For some.
It's April 15th, and today is Titanic Remembrance Day. We're not remembering the movie.
We could, though.
We
might remember the movie a little
We're
bit.
definitely going to talk about the movie.
Right. But this is about the actual
Because
ship.
the movie happened while we were alive.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the ship didn't?
The ship didn't happen while we were alive.
That was before that?
Yeah.
That was before 97?
It was April 15th, 1912.
1912.
Technically.
Oh, it was on April 15th, though?
Well, it hit the iceberg on April 14th, but it didn't sink until 2 hours later. So it's technically April 15th.
Oh, so right around midnight.
Really accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I did my research. Got a lot of facts about the Titanic.
I mean,
Not really. I got 4 bullet points. That's it.
And that was one of them.
That was one of them.
Can't wait to hear the other 3. I hope they're just as good as the first one.
I tried to keep it not depressing.
No, that's good. I
Keep it
mean,
light.
It's 1912. Like, if we make any jokes, it's not too soon anymore, is it?
It's definitely not too soon.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Like,
It still depends on the joke, I think.
yeah, I feel like
Oh, definitely.
that's true. Because like the Holocaust is still too soon for some people,
Way
and
too
that's
soon for
1940s.
everybody.
So like, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I guess 1912 is all right. If you're like pre World War I think you're good.
You know, I bet there is some kind of equation out there that, like,
It is
this many
too
people
soon.
died, which means you have to wait this amount of time before making jokes about
Oh, a lot of people died,
did-
so.
Well, in the Holocaust, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I don't know. How many people died in Titanic?
It was like 1,522, I think. It was
That's
over
a lot.
1,500 people.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
a lot. It's a lot.
And it was in cold water. A lot of them froze and shit.
Yeah, it was. It was going from England to New York City,
Sorry, I'll be a little more
and
sensitive.
it hit the iceberg in the Atlantic Ocean.
Atlantic strikes again.
Yeah.
It never loses.
No, it's first alphabetically.
Ooh.
No. No, it's not.
Arctic?
It's not, yeah. Damn it.
Close.
Oh, well.
2
I mean,
letters
is
away.
I tried
Ocean
to-
even real? Like, is that a really
I
an
mean,
ocean?
the Arctic Ocean, what I've never understood, I've just learned recently that there's actually like a 5th ocean, or that they're considering adding a 5th ocean, like the Antarctic Ocean on the bottom.
okay.
Because there's the Arctic Ocean. I always learned that there's 4 in
Right.
class.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, of
The
course.
Pacific, the Santa Maria, the Pinto, and the Maria. Right? Those are the
Is it
4.
bad that I went straight to Step Brothers? Straight to Step Brothers.
No, there's the Arctic, the Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
But I always wondered, why is there the Arctic? Because it's kind of where like the Atlantic kind of goes up north.
Right.
So
right.
like what differentiates? I guess it's like the currents and the
I don't.
or
I mean,
something.
yeah, it's all like one. They're all connected, so it's one body of water. So
yeah. That's what
why-
I think. It's
yeah,
just I don't know. It's like the boundaries that they find. But I think they're talking about an Antarctic Ocean on the bottom of the world.
just make shit up. You just
That's
do whatever
true.
they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like these holidays.
I used to think
Just
there was
like they
seven seas, and now there's more.
No,
I think there was always more, but I always Sinbad in the 7 seas or whatever was where
Pluto
I was
used to
getting
be
that.
a planet.
Yeah,
I was
now it's
just
not a
gonna-
planet.
Yeah, the way they did Pluto.
Yeah.
The way
Next-
they did
Dirty.
Pluto.
Next year, Uranus, you're not
They
a planet
really did.
anymore. Yeah,
Nope.
they did my boy Pluto bad, man. They did him bad. Learned about him all through high school.
So, of course, when we think of the Titanic, we think of the lovely movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that movie when it was in theaters?
Yeah, I
No.
did.
I
You didn't?
did. Yep.
Mm.
You're
Are you?
well,
You're
how
young.
old were you? Yeah, you're younger than us.
I am 28.
Okay.
Only a couple.
So I
5
mean, I
years.
was yeah.
5 years.
I mean, I
That's
was
pretty sheltered.
I was
Yeah.
pretty young though. I remember being really young when I saw
So did I.
Titanic. So
My mom covered my eyes during the booby part,
Right.
ooh, the booby part.
but I still saw a
You
little
still
booby. I still saw a little booby.
Peek through the fingers.
Yeah, like
right,
like
right.
just kind of tilt to the side a little bit.
So when
there's
it,
that booby.
when it came out on VHS, it was 2 VHS.
Yeah,
Did
it's
you have
2.
to buy 2 movie tickets to go see it?
yeah. The first half and can I just get pre-iceberg? We're gonna catch post-iceberg tomorrow. Don't have enough time. No, I remember. Yeah, it's a 3-hour movie.
There wasn't an intermission though, was there?
There's not really intermissions with newer movies anymore.
I
There
didn't think
used to
so.
be like back in like the 40s and shit, like with Gone with the Wind. Like
They should have intermissions.
I think they should.
Yeah, there's
Well,
some
'cause
long
now,
ass
like,
movies.
now I have to buy a $10 Coke, and then I have to buy a $10 empty cup, so I don't have to leave the theater.
right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like just add an intermission. You can take it out when people buy it on DVD and Blu-ray,
Right.
but just add
Just
it in there.
fucking cut the previews in half and add that as an intermission.
That's true. Yeah.
They're like
that's
30 minutes now. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. I like the intermission. I watch an old movie, and every once in a while, there's like an overture. Like I'm just watching like a 5-minute screen of just like a mountain with like music playing, and I'm like, all right, I can fast forward this. And then there's like an intermission. I think that's cool.
So I have a relation to one of the other podcasts we did, which I forget what day.
Look it up because we might not have done that.
I thought you were gonna say you had a relation to somebody that was on.
I know. I
Titanic.
thought she was gonna say I know
whoa,
Leo.
This is
Yeah.
way more real than I was expecting.
Me and Leo go way back.
way
Yeah,
back.
You're right. We haven't gotten to that day yet.
Pre-Oscar days.
That's fine.
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
What did you like the movie when you saw Amber Simpson?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I was as a child, I was in love with Leonardo DiCaprio.
And girls
so.
loved Leo. in
Yeah,
that,
so
you know?
of course I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't see it in theaters though.
I
Nick.
did not see it in theaters.
So when was your first experience?
Oh man, I was really bored and I was going through my parents' VHSs and I heard that there was a painting scene of some kind. I was like, you know what?
Pop that in there.
Let's check this out. So I watched the whole first VHS and I'm pretty sure it's on the second VHS.
Oh,
Oh
God.
no.
And I was asleep by that point. Yeah, lost interest.
When I was a kid, I didn't really like the movie. I thought it was boring, and I was like, "Oh, just girls like this. It's just a romance story. There's not a lot about like the Titanic, blah blah blah." When I was a kid, I do appreciate it a little bit more now because like I do like James Cameron. I like the direction, and I like Leonardo
It's a
DiCaprio.
good
I think he's a
movie.
good actor.
Yeah.
But back
Oh,
then,
yeah.
I was just kind of like snobby about it. 'Cause I was
Right.
like, "Oh, girls just like it because of him and
Of
stuff."
course.
Right.
But he is a good actor, and
Did
I like
that movie win
Kate
any?
Winslet.
Did it won
Yeah.
awards, right?
It's tied for the most awards with Return of the King, Lord of the Rings. They all won 11, and what was the other one? Not Gone with the Wind. Ben-Hur, maybe. I think it's Ben-Hur, and then Titanic, and then Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. All won 11
Damn.
Academy Awards, which is the
Crazy.
most.
It didn't get Leo an Oscar though.
No, he went a long time before he got an Oscar. Kate Winslet, I think they were nominated, but they didn't win. Neither of them won.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they were fine, but I forget what else. I think As Good as It Gets came out that year, and I think Helen Hunt won Best Actress.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, over Kate Winslet. I don't remember who
Wow.
won Best Actor. Maybe Jack Nicholson. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I have more appreciation for it now as a film,
Yeah.
but I haven't really watched it in a long time.
I haven't seen it in years. I would barely call myself an adult now, but mentally anyways. But I
Yeah.
certainly haven't seen it as a mental adult. So
I do remember. I forget what I was doing. I was hanging out with my friend Cody at the time. This was probably like a few years ago. And Cody was kind of a weird guy.
Yeah.
But he was cool. We were friends. And I remember I had to like do some stuff, but he was like staying over. I'm like, yeah, just watch whatever you want to watch. Like I got to get some chores done and stuff. So I was doing it. And he ends up watching like Titanic. It was like on TBS. So he just leaves it on there. And I'm like, you're watching Titanic? He's like, yeah, it's on. I don't feel like changing the channel. So I'm like, okay. So then, like, I finished doing my stuff, so I end up sitting down, and we both end up watching all of Titanic, right?
Oh my gosh.
So we
How
finished
romantic.
Titanic. I know. And I was like, that was weird, but okay, fine. So then I had to do something else. I, like, left, and I came back, and he's literally watching it again. It's on TBS, and it's
Yo,
replaying it.
What?
And he's just sitting there, and it's already, like, 20 minutes in. I'm like, you're watching it again? He's like, well, we kind of didn't watch the beginning. We kind of jumped in, like, you know, after about a half an hour, it was already playing. I'm like, but you're watching it again? Like, we just saw it. It was really weird. They replayed it on TBS, like, back to back. But it was like,
Nice.
I was like, I'm not watching this again.
I'm pretty
Change
sure I
it.
saw it like 3 times when it was in theaters.
I know a lot of people, like, it was the
That's
highest
9
grossing film.
hours.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oy.
Yeah, highest grossing film
I mean-
of that time, 600 million domestically, I
Yeah.
think.
It's
Something like
crazy.
that.
You know, that might be interesting. Like if you have a friend that's never seen it, having them watch the second VHS first, and then the first VHS. And
The real struggle is going to be finding a VHS player.
That's true. That's true.
The VHS, probably.
That's if George Lucas directed it. He would have released the second half first, and then
Exactly.
20 years going, we got enough to do the first half now.
Right.
Enough CGI. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, like the day, I mean, I don't really know much. I went to the Titanic when they had like the.
You went to
is
the
that-
Titanic?
Yeah, I went to the Titanic. I went in under the water for a long time. No, it was they did like at the museum.
Right.
They had like exhibit, the Titanic exhibit, and they had like old cups and
Right.
stuff
I
like
love
that.
old
That's
cups.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that was the coolest thing. They had barnacles.
I do
on
kind of
and
love
shit.
that stuff. I love watching like videos of people like snorkeling at like sunken ships and shit.
There's a
Finding
lot of
Mhm.
sunken ships.
Yeah, there is. I
Oh,
have a friend who
over.
like he goes snorkeling pretty pretty often, and he told me about one place that he goes. I don't remember where it is at all, but he told me like you can go like through the boat and shit. It's
That's
kinda
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. But I think the Titanic's like really deep down.
And
They
is it
had a
still
sen-
there?
yeah.
Like, is it?
They James Cameron did that.
They did like a Finding Titanic.
Yeah, it was like
documentary.
Ghosts of the
yeah.
Abyss or something like
Yeah.
that, and it was like where they went down to discover the ship, and they sent the like little robot down there
That's
with
crazy. That'd be
lights
dope.
and shit.
I mean, scary but dope.
Yeah, I don't know. The ocean scares me.
Oh, yeah.
If I,
What
I've-
scares you about the ocean?
it's just so big and vast.
I'm not even
And
gonna
dark.
say it.
and
Not even
dark
gonna
and
say it.
scary. So deep. It's so deep.
So deep.
So deep.
It's like
Put
really-
her ass to sleep.
I don't like yeah. I don't like not knowing what's below me. Anytime I'm like in like water, it doesn't matter if it's like a pool.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I
Being
just
able to
think
touch.
of like
That's
just
an eerie
Jaws,
feeling.
like that poster of Jaws where it's
Right.
like just like gonna cut me in half.
You've been like tubing or water skiing or anything
Yeah,
like that.
I've done
so,
all
like,
of it.
when you fall and then
Yeah,
you gotta wait
I'm
for
just
the boat
sitting
to
there.
make that long
Oh my
3-year
God, yeah.
turn
That's
around.
scary.
And you're sitting
I've
there
done that,
just
Gonna
like-
get eaten by a fucking shark right now.
Yeah, I've done-
flopping in the water.
Well, I think of about that because like in the bay, like Tampa Bay, which we live right next to, is filled with like sharks.
Like
they
bull
say-
sharks,
Yeah,
like,
bull sharks, which are
nasty.
aggressive.
Yeah.
There's also hammerheads. Like a lot of sharks go in there to breed because it's a pretty shallow, warm water.
Right.
So,
Yeah, if you just happen to land in that shit, you're fucked.
But the thing is, like, I want to
Literally.
go kayaking across it, but then I'm kind of scared
Across
of
the
like,
bay?
yeah,
I think they have like a swim marathon. Like
I'm not
it's like the
swimming.
Frogman competition.
Oh,
where
I'm
they
not doing
swim
that.
across all of Tampa Bay.
Why do you want to
I'm not
kayak
doing that. I
across?
want to kayak. I don't know.
Kayak
It'd be
somewhere
kinda
that's
cool.
not the bay.
I have
No,
a
because the
kayak.
kayak's
We'll go
like
kayaking.
it's like far.
I would go.
I like a challenge.
Oh,
I would kayak across the Gulf,
no.
but I'll die.
Oh,
Listen, I
sad.
don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to get. My whole thing is like, even when I'm on a cruise, I think like if the cruise ship sinks, I'm like, it just sucks. Like I'm gonna be floating out here for God knows how long, and I'm gonna get all pruny, and I might die.
Would you
There's a
rather
shark.
sink? Would you rather sink on a ship in the middle, really far away from land, or
B
crash
or-
on an airplane into the water?
Oh, sink on a ship. I don't want to. Crashing on it.
No.
You get a
I-
chance.
I would
to
rather-
live.
Yeah,
you can
but it's
live
way-
on a plane that crashes.
It's way more fun
Right?
to go on
No.
the plane.
No.
Every time I like hear someone like be like, you pull this
It's
life
not a
vest,
ride.
and then there's a giant boat that you all get. I'm like, ooh, that sounds so.
Okay,
fun.
well, you didn't.
if
say
I could do it and guarantee I would live through it, fuck, I would choose crashing.
how
on a
expensive
plane.
Okay, well, yeah.
skydiving
If you can
is.
live, I didn't know that was a stipulation that you know you're gonna live and be okay.
Okay,
Like, sure, fine.
if you know you're gonna live.
Now I'm still picking a cruise. Because a ship, when it sinks, is still gonna sink.
It's gonna
still
sink.
gonna sink slowly.
Yeah, that's boring as fuck.
Yeah, that's
Boring. It's not a ride. It's survival at that point.
I mean, if you know you're gonna live at that
Nah,
point, it's a
man.
ride.
No.
life is a ride.
No,
Life
life
is
is
a
a
ride.
highway.
Yeah.
That's what I've always learned. Thank you, Tom Cochran and Rascal Flatts. No, if it sinks, you can jump off. You can get away from it before it
You can
sucks
jump
you
off
under.
the plane.
But
Yeah, good luck living
how,
when you jump off. When do you know to jump off
You
of
just
the
pencil
plane?
dive.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Where the wind picks you up, you just flip around a bunch of times, break your
That's
neck,
better
and
than
you hit
getting
the water.
that's better than getting sucked underwater. You can't breathe underwater. You could breathe in
jump-
the air.
Ships don't just like boom, like under the water; they sink slowly. So you just jump off.
But at what
The
point
Titanic
does it
took like 4 hours
well,
to sink, or
well,
2
what
hours
at,
to sink.
at what point does it start sucking you under?
I don't know. Depends.
Will there
if
be
you
cake
treat it
after
nicely?
hours?
If you treat it, yeah. What was the question?
I don't even.
No,
you answered the question.
Listen,
It's fine.
because they have time to lower lifeboats and stuff, and you can
But
just
you're you're a straight white male. You're not getting a lifeboat.
That's true. I'm not.
That's not happening.
I'm just. They're all women and children. No, you just put on a wig on, and or you just take a kid like that one dude, Billy Zane's character, pick up a random kid and say, "This is my son. We have to get on the boat," and then you're on a boat. Don't you ever forget.
I don't think everybody on the boat's lived either, though.
No, probably not. But I'm saying, like, I think you have a better chance of surviving if you take away the whole "you'll survive" scenario.
The surviving part is really valuable to you. Then a boat. But if you want to have some fun,
if I want to have some fun, I'll go to fucking SeaWorld and ride a roller coaster. I don't need to die on a plane or fall out of a plane.
All right, fine.
Just saying. A plane's gonna crash and you're gonna like get whiplash.
Just saying.
And then if the plane starts sinking, like, oh no. No, thank you. No, thank you.
So there were tons of people that like were offered lifeboats to survive and gave them up to other people.
I know. That's why it's like really sad.
It's really sad. And one of the people, I didn't write down all their names, but the one, it was like the wealthiest man in, I don't know if it was the world or America at the time. His name was John Jacob Astor.
Yeah, we know. Yeah,
in our head immediately.
He was the wealthiest, at least the wealthiest passenger on board, and the richest man in the world. He gave up his spot to the last on one of the last remaining lifeboats to 2 young women that he didn't know.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's reassuring.
That's baller. See, and we
talk
about
old school.
Yeah, that's like
I don't know if that would happen these days.
It would not.
These days, like
so.
In the world of the coronavirus, the billionaires are not giving anyone money.
A raffle, and you have to buy raffle tickets in order to get on the boat.
You guys better buy them quickly because we're going
down.
If you guys
on this boat from winning a poker game, you're shit out of luck. Sorry.
My whole thing is like I love that the whole idea of the Titanic was it was this huge ship. And it was like, it's unsinkable. Right. And literally on its first voyage, it sinks.
I don't know why you would ever describe a ship as unsinkable. Like, what is
like
the
if
point?
You try hard enough, I think you can
It's
sink
kind of like
anything.
someone planned it. Like,
they put that iceberg there.
I mean, when I go on a ship...
I'm going to prove them wrong.
When I go on a ship, it's implied that the boat is not going to sink. I don't need somebody to tell me that it's unsinkable.
I know. Like, I don't want it to sink.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want any boat to sink that I'm on.
You could never do that again. It's a red flag now.
Well, I just don't think it's like it's not labeled under
on the unsinkable ship.
But it's just not labeled under the amenities like of like your cruise ship, like unsinkable. Oh, you know what? They got a pool and it's unsinkable. I'll go. Oh. Sign me up.
If you want to go on the unsinkable ship, you got to pay a premium.
Hey, that guy was the richest man in the world, and he still didn't get anywhere.
I mean, that's a good point. Like we, as a species, had this monstrosity of technology and materials and all of this, and we went up against nature, and nature won. Nature's been doing this a lot longer than we have. So
that's true. They've been sinking boats since the 1700s.
This whole existing thing.
That's true. It's just weird. Like, it just hit an iceberg and like, bam, that was it.
That was it. Damn.
I mean, that was it for 3 hours sinking.
That's what I'm saying. That's a slow
through
sink.
the night.
But
oh man, that means everybody was like super tired. If it started sinking on the 14th,
it started sinking at
I think the
11.
Adrenaline.
Well, it was 11:40 p.m. I don't know exactly.
Everybody's
but it
drunk,
says 2 hours
tired.
But didn't a lot of the poor people they got stuck underneath because they were in the lower levels?
Yeah, so they probably died pretty close to when it happened.
Yeah.
And then I heard it's true that it actually broke in half, and then it got sucked under.
Yeah.
Like in the movie where it like broke in half, like halfway through the sinking.
How do they know that? I guess that there's documents, right?
Well, I think people are still alive. Like there's still people who
people
talked
survived
about it.
Yeah.
It's been really documented.
Yeah,
people
know. I mean, of all the ship sinkings that I know, that's
I know
like gotta
no
be
other
number
ones.
one. That's gotta be. I know that one, the USS Indianapolis, and the Andrea Doria, but that's only because of Seinfeld. Other than that,
I don't know what that is. Wow.
Yeah.
What scene is the most memorable to you besides the Draw Me Jack scene?
I mean, him standing on the tip of the boat, or him not being able to get on the door at the end, and
I do like. Here's the thing: a lot of people say there was room for him on the door, but I think he tried to get on the door, and then it started to sink a little bit, and then he was like, I think he's like, no, I think he like climbed up a little bit, and then it like wobbles, and then she's Kate Winslet's like, oh my god, and then he's
She's
like,
only gonna give one try.
I think you added that in your head. I don't think that's part of it.
Listen, I'm telling you, I think he tries. It sinks just a little bit, and then he's just like, screw it, and he just sits there, and Kate Winslet's
well, luckily today's Titanic Remembrance Day, so we're gonna watch it after this.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be nearly as romantic if they had both lived.
Yeah, I know, that's true. That was the whole thing. Is like, one of them had to die.
Yeah,
one of them had to.
Yeah.
For me, it's
like
movie. The ship breaks, right, and this guy falls off of the edge and hits the propeller.
Oh yeah,
off the propeller.
Yeah.
For me, that's the scene.
Yeah,
I forgot about that
because you can hear
and you hear it. I know. Yeah. I'm like, oh my god. Although, like, would you try to do like? Obviously, you want to stay out of the water as long as possible because it is cold and stuff. But then, if you're hanging on to it as it's going down, you're gonna get sucked in.
Right.
And then it's like you're probably going to drown because you can't get back up.
I think I would like try and like break off a piece of something and then jump in to float on.
People are running by you. You're like over here like trying to rip a door off its
hinge.
Like,
exactly. You got to get on. If you were on that door, if you jumped off the boat when it first started sinking with the door, you could be far away from by the time.
Yeah, but then you got to stay. You're still like once you get wet though, then you're like susceptible to like hypothermia.
Yeah, but all of them were susceptible to hypothermia.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, not the ones in the lifeboat. The ones who were able to get on a lifeboat before it like completely sunk. Like they were.
Yeah, I get my wife and/or kids on a lifeboat, and then I go back to the buffet and bar. And
you're just like screw it.
And get super drunk and sit next.
You ask any other lady if she wants to get down. You're like, one more time. Let's just one time before we all go under.
Yeah,
drink
why not?
Wine. I mean, the band still played, so the ambience was still there.
I mean, I think I would do that. Just screw it.
Especially
just eat whatever, get drunk,
and you're like, hey, I get to die with my friends.
That's true. Yeah,
that's true.
I heard that was true too. That the band actually.
The band. Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Can you imagine being that dedicated to your craft?
Yeah, like, I love music, but not that much.
Well, they knew they weren't going to be.
That's true. They're men. They weren't going to be able to get on a boat.
Yeah,
exactly.
But again, like that sucks. That like I read this somewhere else too when I was doing like research for another podcast. Is that a lot of cruise ships and a lot of ships in general only have to have enough lifeboats to cover 75% of the passengers. They don't have to cover everybody. So it's like, well. That sucks.
Yeah.
Like, then you already know, like, 25% probably aren't going to make it.
That's a weird rule.
Yeah, that is, right?
Yeah. It might even be lower, but I thought it was 75% or something. I mean,
but wouldn't, like 25% probably be the crew?
Probably. Maybe that's what it is. Like, they only have to have enough to cover the passengers, but then it's like,
but still
for the crew.
I mean, the captain goes down with the ship.
Well, it might also
be...
yeah, that's true. They have to. Even though that...
Legally, the captain has to die with the ship.
There's that one story, I think it was in 2012, of the guy... it was in Italy that he was the captain of the ship. He got too close. It was a cruise ship. Got too close to the shore because he wanted to wave to some people on the shore.
Oh, my God.
Hit some rocks. The whole thing flipped, sunk. A lot of people disappeared. God. Some people died. They rescued everybody else. He got tried for, whatever, manslaughter or whatever it was. And he got arrested. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I just drowned myself at that point. Like,
right.
I fucked up
captain
big.
Of a ship.
I fucked up big time.
Nobody that you need to wave to.
Yeah, right?
What?
I think I would just be like, I fucked up. Let me go drown myself. Even if I wasn't in water, I'm like, I gotta go find water to drown
At that point,
myself.
why do you want to live?
I think he got arrested and he's in prison now. I don't know how many years, but like 5 years or something like that. But still,
if I'm the captain of a ship, I'm not waving at nobody.
Like why?
They wave to me.
I'm the captain. Just to your horn or whatever, or ship horn, like a truck does. You know what I mean, the truck doesn't veer off the road when a kid's going like this. Shit. I had to give him a high five. Yeah. Reach out the truck window.
Italian captains, man, I tell you.
Yeah, that's shit, Italian captains.
I can't even with them.
They even steer like this. You can't see this podcast listener, but I'm holding my hands up like Italians talk.
You know what figures hold up.
Nah, so that's pretty crazy.
So did you know that they made a Titanic 2?
I've heard of that, but it was straight to video, and it's really stupid.
What?
That means it's still a movie.
Yeah, it's still a movie.
I mean, it doesn't have Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay.
No.
Wow.
If they did a Titanic 2, like, there's no way to do it.
Yeah, what?
I mean, you just have... I mean, I think the Titanic 2 was what, like a horror film or something like that?
Yeah. So the premise, and I did my fair amount of research as well.
Wow.
Nice.
But the premise is that they're going on a voyage for the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic, which I think is super weird. But,
yeah.
And then a tsunami throws an iceberg into the ship.
Shit.
What the
And they tried to not go down the same path as their predecessors.
Wow, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
They could have went so many ways with that. I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. But when you
The tsunami throws
the tsunami throws the iceberg.
Final destination 100.
Jesus. That's bad.
That's why it went straight to video.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just
I don't think it
Sharknado.
had. Yeah, I don't think it had any of the recurring cast come back. Like, I don't think Kate Winslet made another
Oh
appearance.
no,
or
they were
Probably
anything.
dead.
not.
Yeah. No, Caitlin.
Well,
No,
yeah, it
alive.
was the
She was just
100th
old.
anniversary.
She was old though. She was still alive.
100.
How old was she?
I don't know.
I think she was like 90.
Her name was Rose, so she
But
was
still,
probably like
is that-
90.
She was 90 something. She was in there because they were like, Bill Paxton was surprised that there was anybody left from the Titanic. I'm going to look it up right now.
Okay, well, while you're looking it up, let's make the big decision.
Ooh, yes.
Oh, boy.
And
Do
most
we
of
have
her-
cake on this day? Unless you can get it shaped like the Titanic, but not just the Titanic broken in half.
Exactly.
If you can't do that with like blood and little people and
Ooh,
boats.
and you can make cupcakes that look like little lifeboats.
Ooh,
I was
see?
going to say, like, get like a cupcake that looks like an iceberg and just throw it at the other
Throw it,
cake.
yeah, that's a great idea.
So unless you really want to go all out, I think no. Other than that, right? What do you
I
guys
mean,
think?
I think you can, but it's also not like a day that you're going to like celebrate. It's more of like
It's a remembrance day.
Yeah, it's kind of like just
You remember what happened.
I say you just watch the movie. If you want to have a cake with it, you can, but I don't think it's necessary.
Or you don't even need to watch the movie. Watch what was the other thing? where
Watch
they,
a documentary. Yeah, I think it's called
documentary?
Ghost of the Abyss or something like that.
Okay.
Sounds
Not to be
mysterious.
confused with The Abyss, which is also directed by James Cameron and about like an underwater creature. So not the
Isn't
same.
there a wine company called Cake Wine? You could pour one out for the homies.
Oh,
And
yeah.
have cake wine instead. So technically there would be cake, but it wouldn't be a pastry or a baked good.
That's a good idea.
Or just
Wow,
go-
you're the
or-
first guest
yeah,
to recommend that.
take like a champagne bottle, go to a new ship on the docks, and
throw
just
it at-
smash it, and say, "Please don't wind up like the Titanic."
Is this ship unsinkable?
yeah. We'll find out. Okay, I looked
Next
it up.
time on Dragon Ball Z.
I said, "How old was Old Rose in Titanic?" And it said,
Old Rose. You called her Old Rose.
Well, because I looked up how old was Rose in
Oh,
Titanic, and it
okay,
said
yeah,
17, and I was
Right.
like, "No, Old Rose." So then it says that she was 101 years old.
Wait, she was 17?
Whoa.
She was 17
Does
on
that
the
make us
Titanic.
pedophiles for watching that scene?
Well, no, the actress wasn't 17.
But
The character was.
The
The character was,
naked.
but you have to be 18 or older to be naked in a Hollywood film. So she was technically 18, so it's not inappropriate. But she,
How old was she
Right.
though? Do
What?
you know?
in real life,
Yeah.
I think
There's
she was probably
some
like 20.
uncharted waters you're in there, Rob.
How old was Kate Winslet?
I see what you did there. Okay, let's look up how old Kate Winslet. How old? we're gonna get all the ages of Kate Winslet's characters and stuff.
We need all the facts.
Kate Winslet is 44 right now.
Oh, thank you. So, and that came out in
Wait, it came out in 1997, right?
I think so.
97.
Yeah.
So that was what, 23 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that makes me feel old.
So then, yeah. So she
No
was.
wonder you didn't see it in theaters.
I was
She was
6.
21.
Okay.
So
Okay.
she's,
Yeah.
I knew she was in her 20s. She's 21.
Ugh.
So there's a lot of Titanic documentaries.
I think it's fine to watch it.
Yeah.
All right. Rob thinks
That's
it's
fine.
fine.
Even
So
yeah.
take that as
How
your
to
legal
watch it.
advice
Yeah.
that Rob thinks is fine.
Listen, she only shows one boob and her butt, so I think it's okay.
One
I
boob
mean,
in her
and
butt.
butts.
Bubs.
Bubs.
Bubs. She shows her bubs. That's what you do when you combine those. Her boots. She shows her boots. All right.
Perfect. All right.
Cool. So,
I think that does it for Titanic Remembrance Day.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank
Solid.
you for joining us, Nick. I'm your
Absolutely.
Nix.
Nick's.
Me and my multiple
You and
personalities.
your-
What about Robert? You didn't say goodbye to me.
Nope.
Oh, man.
Robert, thank you
Yep.
for always being here.
Always.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
This has been a Seven Lamb production.